Hello there, I'm Andrew Kropp and welcome to Film Music House at Sundance Film Festival. Today, my guest is composer Sharon Farber, who's here to discuss her score for the documentary Brainwashed, Sex, Camera, Power, a hard-hitting investigation into the politics of shot design and how this meta level of filmmaking intersects with the twin epidemics of sexual abuse and assault and employment discrimination against women. Hello, Sharon.
Hello, Andrew, and thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure and honor to be here.
It is my pleasure. Let's talk about Brainwashed. Can you tell us a little bit about the film and how you came on board this project?
So the film, you described the film perfectly, basically. And it's a disturbing film. It's a hard film to swallow, and I'm sure it's going to be controversial to some degree in Hollywood. And the main reason is because Nina Menkes, the director, is using a lot of film clips from the 40s until today to prove her point. And when you see that, there's just no way you can say, no, it's not happening, or it hasn't happened in the past, because you just see, and these are like the biggest classical films, you know, I mean, from every major award that you can think of, like the biggest directors, and it's happening again and again and again and again. And I, you know, someone who loves film, of course, never even thought about these issues because we are so brainwashed, you know, to look at stuff in a certain way and don't realize that this is not okay. But it's so embedded in us that even for me as a woman, I didn't even realize that this is what's going on and how it really affects the minds of people and how it leads to sexual harassment and how it leads to even rape culture that we have today. You know, it leads to so many bad things, and it needs to be tackled. And I'm so happy and honored to be a part of it. I was introduced to Nina by the producer Summer Yang. Summer just produced another film that I scored that will be out this year. I can't talk about it right now, but I'm very excited about it because it's a beautiful, beautiful film by director Gav Miron, and it's just really beautiful. So she was working on Brainwashed, and she introduced me to Nina. And Nina asked to hear some of my music, which I sent, and she hired me. So it's been a long road. You know, usually you get today not enough time to score a film as you should. And she gave me the time. She gave me the time. We even had twice that we postponed the recordings. We recorded with a full orchestra, which is so different, you know, when it comes to documentary. But yes, it took time, and I'm so blessed to have had the time to do it right. And I'm proud of every note that I wrote there.
Oh, that's great. So speaking of Nina, what was your director-composer relationship like with her? Did she have any guidance for you on what she wanted to do with the score?
Yes, so the whole film was scored with one of the greatest scores ever, which is Vertigo by Bernard Herrmann, the genius, you know, I mean, he's like Bernard Herrmann. And, you know, I'm like, okay, now I need to make something that will have the quality of Bernard Herrmann and still be my own. And it was really a challenge how to have the same vibe, which a little bit is a little bit of an old Hollywood, but on the other hand, it still needed to be more contemporary in many places. And so how do you go about that? And I took, like, there's a vibe of triplets in Vertigo, which I used definitely different notes and, you know, different instruments and everything. But the whole vibe of ta da 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 da, that something is all the time like it's bouncing and it's swinging and it's going, you know, in circles. And how do we get out of this circle that is surrounding us for generations? So the score of Bernard Herrmann is very mysterious, and that's what we wanted to portray, the mystery of this whole thing, but also the ominous of it and the disturbance of it and the deep drama that it brings, which, you know, is challenging. Because on the one hand, you know, you have this mystery, and there's even a part in the film that I scored, a black and white film, one of the films there that I actually scored a clip. So that was like more a bit romantic with high strings, but a lot of it was, you know, dark, really dark.
Yeah. And
so you ask every composer, we love dark music, but it has to be a balance, you know, between the mystery and the darkness and a little bit of optimism at the end, because we are seeing changes. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was just gonna follow up. So what was your composer-director relationship like with Nina through all of this?
So Nina never ever worked with a composer until I came to this project. She did many features, but she always did her own sound. So she would create a score per se, but more like sound oriented, not like really orchestral. And here she wanted an orchestral music, and she was very detail oriented. And, you know, it's very interesting because sometimes composers feel like they are being asked to do something that doesn't sit well with them or anything like that, you know, writing wise. And I think that when you score a film, you can't have ego, because our job is to be the problem solver, not a problem maker. Our job is to bring to life the vision of the director. And if our vision is not actually aligned, then we need to readjust, because, you know, Nina worked on this film for like 2 years. Who am I to come all of a sudden and say, that's not right? Plus, the guide track was really very helpful. But so she was very detail oriented. Even though she doesn't understand music, she knew what she wanted to hear. So, for example, if I had strings that were too high, she's like, you know, this is too high for me. Can you take it down? She didn't know what taking it down means, but she said, can you do that? And things like that. And, you know, some of the cues had lots of versions, but I was okay with that because she gave me the time. And because we worked in a wonderful collaboration. When we just started, you know, she never worked with a composer before, so it's scary. I mean, I put myself in her shoes. I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about music, and now I have to trust this person that, you know, I just met, you know. So, but after I did the first cue, which was about 4 minutes, the opening, which you've heard, she called me. She said, yes, this is what I want. This is great. I have a little bit of comment here, but after that, she trusted me, because the first cue was exactly what she wanted. It was the vibe of Vertigo, but it was totally my own, you know, and she just like, yes, this is exactly what we need. So after that, a collaboration, you know, it's like when you score with an orchestra and all the notes and all the scores are perfect. Or if you don't, and, you know, there's a mistake here, a mistake here, and a mistake here. After 3-4 times, you know, the musicians stopped believing that you know what you're doing. So I guess I was lucky. I hit it right on the first cue. And since after that, it was long, but it was a beautiful collaborative effort. There was no, you know, anger or where there was no, it was just really beautiful. And I found in my experience as a composer, almost always when a director gives me comments, it makes my music better. And of course, you have to sometimes choose your battles, because sometimes you'd say, I really think this director is making a mistake. And I had these, battles, but you have to really choose them smartly and say, over here, I think can I present another option? There's a way to say things, you don't say you're wrong. You just say there's another option that I'm thinking of. Would you be willing to listen? And when you come from a place of respect, that's what you're going to get back. And there were a few places like that. And she said, you know what? I hear what you're saying and you're right. So can you go back to the other version and things like that? So it was great. It was a very collaborative effort, and she loves the score and I love the score. So it's a wonderful outcome.
Yeah, that sounds like a great collaboration.
Yes.
I want to shift the focus to your score. And I feel like there's a lot to talk about here, because when I listen to it, it does not sound like a score for a documentary. It sounded more to me like something out of a horror film, or even some parts sounded like a fantasy adventure to me. How would you describe your music, and why did you choose to score the film this way?
So yes, luckily, and I'm so happy about that, this is totally not a documentary score. And Nina is a unique person and a unique director. And she never wanted a documentary score, some piano, some strings. No, because she didn't want the emotional impact of the music. She wanted the audience to be able to choose for themselves, how to feel. So it was a fine line between making it work so that it's impactful, but on the other hand, not being melodramatic. And I was extremely happy when she said, when I heard the temp, I said, Nina, this film deserves a real orchestra. And she said, you're right. And I was like, oh my God, a doc with an orchestra, it doesn't happen. And she gave me the option to record with a full orchestra, which is what I've done. So the way I approached it was, how do I make this balance between the more mysterious part of the film and the more heavy part of the film. And I build it like a story, because this is a story. It has a beginning. Every film has a story, of course. And I think that music should go with the story, not against it. And so it was like an exposition. The first cue, which you've heard, is starting small and then it becomes big. And that was the exposition. And I think in this cue, we have almost all the elements of the film. We have the mysterious, we have a little bit of gentleness at the beginning, and then we have the dramatic title, which is big and dramatic, but it's not, Nina doesn't like the typical Hollywood sound. So I was very careful. She said, don't give me Star Wars. Like, I'd love to score Star Wars, but we have John Williams for that. But it was a balance. How do I make it that it's not overly dramatic? So for the many dramatic parts, I used low brass, a lot of low growling brass, not always growling, but a lot of kind of thick chords, but they're not like C minor or D minor. They're not like regular. It's like harmonies that are mixed together that you wouldn't think they would mix together, but if you do it in a smart way and you do the voice leading right, then it sounds ominous without sounding totally dissonant. So I worked on that a lot, and I have a few themes. The main theme, or I wouldn't say total theme, but more like elements, are the triplets that I'm using throughout the scores that come back in many, many, many shapes and forms. And I'm using strings with trill, which I love. It's, it's they're coming and going, but it doesn't go like, but it goes, and goes back. Like, so it creates this uneasiness, you know. And I have one theme that is the more power woman, I would say, theme, that where we are going forward, we're not staying in the past, we're going forward, and this is how we need to do it, and this is what we need to be thinking of when we do that. So that theme usually is played by the horns with some accompaniment of the strings, and that repeats in certain places.
Is that almost like a marching theme?
Yes, it's kind of a marching theme, but we don't have the typical march. So I don't have any snare drum. Ta, 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 it's like we're marching. It's very subtle, and it's with a harp. Usually it's with a harp. Sometimes I add celeste and vibraphone on it. But it's basically the harp is going ta 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 ta. But it's not like it's there, but it's not. Look at me, I'm marching. It's like the small changes, the small steps that the industry is finally taking in order to fix all these issues that are being talked about in this film. That's how the music goes, slowly, slowly until the dramatic ending.
Was the harp is an interesting instrumentation for kind of a marching theme. Was that chosen on purpose because it's more considered a feminine instrument?
No, it wasn't that. Is that I wanted something that will be there, but not would not interrupt. And harp is a very, very hard instrument to write to, because it has pedals. So if you touch one pedal, let's say it's C and it goes to C sharp, then all of the C are going C sharp. So you have to think about, okay, if I want C and C sharp, I need to write C and D flat. It's very complicated to write. And also there's a lot of repeating notes in this. So when you play harp and you repeat notes, it's hard because you have to stop the strings all the time. It's complicated. There's a way to do it, and we worked with the harpist. I recorded the harp in a separate session because I wanted to be able to control. And it took a while until the harpist really got the sound that I was looking for. And I knew that's going to be an issue. So that's why we did a separate session from the orchestra to just have the opportunity to control the harp as I wanted it. But it was great. And by the way, the orchestra is in Bulgaria. So, my recording time was from midnight to 7 a.m. I was like, okay.
That's great. Wow, I can't wait to hear it in context of this film. I'm personally excited to see it.
Thank you.
I wanted to say, with such difficult subject matter being tackled in the film, were there any unique challenges you faced writing music for this film?
Yes, there's one scene from a clip that I just couldn't watch because as a woman, it was so disturbing. And like 94% of the women in this industry, I had my own experiences with sexual harassment. Now, I'm not complaining in any way. I'm blessed. I've been working for years, and my mentor was Shirley Walker. I mean, thank God. So, but I've had my own unpleasant experiences, including losing a TV show because of that. So, you know, some of the scenes in this film, in these clips, are very explicit, extremely explicit. And I mean, to think about these actresses, that sometimes they needed to make them drunk, basically, heavy use of alcohol in order for them to be naked on set for enormous, you know, time. And, you know, putting myself in their shoes, it's like, how could it's just so disturbing. And there's one, I don't want to give it up, but there's one scene in particular that, you know, as a woman is being tied and things are being done to her. It's like, and I'm a mom, I have a 10 years old girl that I'm like, what are we leaving behind? What is she gonna face? You know, and of course, you know, it's I work from home, and many times like, okay, don't get in right now, because I didn't want her to see all these things. And it's amazing how in cinema these things work on your subconscious without you even realizing that they're working on your subconscious. And only after I saw this film and worked on it, I realized how much the media and the language of camera shot and how women are being subjected to the male gaze and everything, how I didn't even know it affected me. Yeah. You know, and after I finished the film, I saw, you know, I'm on the executive committee of the Motion Pictures Academy. So, you know, I had to see a lot of films before they even get out. And there was one film that I watched, and it's like a love story between two people. And this is this guy who's military and is very strong, you know, and he's like, and his love, you know, this woman, beautiful woman, and they have a talk on the phone. The guy's in the base, in his military base, fully clothed, macho man, you know, and standing and talking. The woman is lying in her bed, talking to him with a t-shirt and underwear. Now, they do not talk about sex. She's like, when are you coming? You know, stuff like that. And the camera slowly pans from her toes all the way through her legs and underwear, you know, and t-shirt and the t-shirt up to her face and her lips. It's like, okay, so he's fully clothed. They're not talking about anything that would, you know, and even if she is, let's say it's late and this is how she goes to bed, why do we need to have the camera panned in such a slow motion way? I mean, is it for me? You know, I don't need that. Is it for the male gaze? Probably, you know, but so these are things that, and please don't get me wrong, I love men, I'm heterosexual, I have my husband, I'm a hugger, I love hugging, I love people. It's just that I wasn't aware of all these issues that come up in this film, and only now I'm like, okay, what would be a different way to shoot this film? And why wouldn't they just focus on her face? Why isn't she dressed up? You know, so things that I really didn't think of until I scored this film. And I think that it doesn't matter who you are, if you're a man or woman, non-binary, whatever, you know, you will be impacted by this film, because there must be a better way, you know. Okay, and as Nina says, she's not the sex police, you know, she's not, you know, in some films you maybe you need it, you know, but do you always need it on everything?
Yeah. I wanted to ask and kind of wrap up our chat here. What is it that you want audiences to take away from your music for Brainwashed? And also, what is your hope for the future of the entertainment industry after this documentary comes out?
So I would love the audience to receive an awareness. I hope that my music with the context of the film will help them realize that there's something that we need to talk about. And by the way, something small that I forgot to tell you, because there are 175 clips from all kinds of films, it was a challenge to make it smoother. So I would make the music that comes before and after in the key of the clips, in order. So there's some of the clips are even scored by me, or the music of the clip is going on while I'm scoring something underneath, in order to have what music needs to do, which is to tie everything together. And it was, she was like, oh, I didn't even realize that we're now in the music of the clip. That's what Nina said. I said, yes, I'm on the same key. But that's why there's a lot of keys in this film, because there's so many film clips. So I would like the audience to not judge, but to say, okay, if so many women feel like this, maybe I can put myself in these women's shoes and see what I'm maybe contributing to this kind of culture, and how we can change it. And for the future, what I would love is for the industry to understand that we are truly all equal. It doesn't matter if you're a man, a woman, what the color of your skin is. Women can score films, as well as men, black people, white people, I don't know, what your gender is. It doesn't matter. It's all about, what can you bring to a project? And I would like all women and all people of color and everybody to be judged by what they can bring to the project as actors, actresses, cinematographers, composer. If you're talented and you know your craft, then let's judge people by that. And if you, as a director, producer, studio executive, feel that you are in alignment with the style of this specific person, then go for it. Don't think of, oh, there's one point I can't remember which film is that, but it's who is this? I can't remember, but one of the guys says, we should probably, I thought maybe we'll have a great film and maybe we'll bring someone big like Penny Marshall. And the other character says, are you crazy? Women ovulate. I was like, seriously?
Oh, jeez.
It's like a joke, but it's not, because I think this is one of the reason why women didn't get a true chance to direct films, because, hey, what if she ovulates? Well, yeah, so. So I think I would love to see an industry that is respectful on both ways, to the people who contribute and make films happen, and treat everyone with respect, equality, and not consider anyone's gender or color or anything else as part of the decision making.
I think that's a beautiful hope, and I hope that brainwashed sex camera power, did I say that right? I probably butchered that. Sex camera power. I got it in the right order. Yay. I hope that Brainwashed can help move the industry in the right direction.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. After Sundance, it goes to Berlin, so it will go to international audience, not only US audience. So I'm very pleased about that.
Yeah.
And Nina did a very, very powerful film. And even if you don't like documentaries, I highly recommend watching it.
Well, we look forward to seeing it at Sundance. And I want to thank you again, Sharon, for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Of
I'm really
course.
happy about it. It's great. And I'm grateful for White Bear PR for actually, bringing our voices to the front line. Thank you.
Oh, you're too kind. Once again, I am Andrew Kropp, and thanks for joining us at Film Music House at Sundance Film Festival. We have some other great videos over at White Bear PR, so be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more exclusive interviews and content. Stay healthy and safe out there, and enjoy the film scores.
Bye, everybody.